Okay, we are live. Welcome, Denise Belka.
Thank you.
Uh, well, this is the book launch day, the long-awaited day. I know it's quite a process to write a book, and even just a chapter in a book, it's quite a process to get there. So I wanted to thank you for taking the time to write your chapter, and I'd like to know, kind of, have you share your experience in writing your chapter and what it's meant to you. But before we do that, I do want to read your bio. So Denise is a farm girl from Alberta with a strong desire to spend all of her time with animals, exploring and spending time in nature. She currently lives outside of Edmonton on what she fondly calls her small funny farm. Surrounded by horses, big and small, a donkey and a mule, geese, ducks, dogs, and cats. Well, that sounds awesome. After spending many years as a stay-at-home mom raising two beautiful daughters, she's now concentrating on her career. She's currently works as a health and safety advisor and has returned to school to obtain her occupational health and safety diploma with additional courses in psychology. Her desire is to bring more awareness to mental health issues in the workplace, especially the detrimental effects of workaholism on both the company, the individual, and their families. With that, I welcome you.
Thank you.
So tell us, with the book launch of Sacred Hearts Rising, and this one is called The Sparks of Light, what motivated you to write a chapter in this book?
It was a little spark of light. I really can't pinpoint any one kind of thing that triggered it. It was a series of little things. One of them was actually meeting one of the authors from the previous books, reading her stories, reading some of the other stories in all the other books, and realizing that I had a story too. And yeah, there's little triggers all the way along that got me to the point. I was like, no, I need to tell my story. I need to tell a piece of it. I need to let some of it go. Let others know that there's hope. Like there's traumas, but there's hope of coming through those traumas. There's something on the other side.
There is. So what's a little piece of your story? I don't want to give it all away. They need to read the book, but
my story was I would say one of my first traumatic experiences as a child. And it really defined a lot of what I do as an adult. You don't really think about how one incident can change an entire lifetime just by that one thing. And it's a story kind of about layers of trauma within layers of trauma. It wasn't just one incident. It was a short period of time, but there was so many layers to that trauma that it affected as a child. It affects your entire adult life then as well, because those things that are cemented in so quickly. I mean, as a child, I mean, our minds are growing at such rapid fire rates that everything we experience, it creates neuron connections, and they're hard to break then.
They are, and especially when it happens as a child, whatever that happening is, or a series of things. When you go into adulthood, unless you've had an escape from it, or unless you've had somebody strong that has guided you through it, you're learning your way based on perhaps not a real good picture of what life could be,
That's exactly it. I mean, any sort of abuse as a child, I mean, it's once you've created those neuron pathways, right? They shape how you react as an adult in subconscious ways, not in conscious ways, but in the subconscious ways. And to work through those as an adult, you have to now become conscious of those things so that you can they're never going to go away, but there's ways I can now do things differently. I can work around, I'm aware of them now. So now I can do things differently just because I know they are there.
So awareness is a big part of the key. And did you find that in writing your chapter in the book made a difference for you?
It did, actually. It did. When I first started writing it, there was hours and hours of tears.
Yes.
Because, yeah, I knew the story, but I had detached from it.
Mm-hmm.
And to really tell the proper story, I had to reattach and relive it again. For me, that was the way it worked best. Was I went in back diving into it and reliving it, and then understanding what those feelings were that were coming up, right? And looking at them, going, "Oh my God!" Like I've been carrying that around. No wonder I'm dealing with PTSD and anxiety and everything else. You're carrying that stuff around with you,
Right.
so it gave me a release, and it's something I'm continuing to work through every day because another little something will kind of crop up, but it's not the same powerful impact that it used to be anymore.
Doesn't hold the same power, does it?
No, it doesn't. I can tell the story now, and it doesn't bother me.
Right. Right.
You know, it's not the same. It doesn't have that same grip on me. It doesn't put me into tears immediately anymore.
Well, I think that especially when it has happened as a child, we don't have the mechanisms to know how to reason our way through it, and we don't always have a good barometer of what normal is, or if there is any such thing as normal.
Yeah, normal, that's a subjective word there.
but also sometimes when we finally reach adulthood, we attract the very same things into our lives because we haven't seen the other side until we start to grow and to realize, wow, that's not what I want. That's not what's for me, you know?
I think one of the biggest awarenesses for me was not even just attracting those same kind of things into my life. It was realizing, and part of this for me has been realizing that in some ways I've been a perpetrator of my own story as well.
Mm-hmm.
It goes both ways because I didn't know you should do anything differently. I was following in what I was shown, right? So you don't necessarily react in situations as an adult. And that's what I realized is that with my own two girls, there was some of those same things that, that I was dealing with. I didn't know how to do them any differently. And I caught myself doing those same things with my girls. And and that's where the layers of the trauma come in.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many parts to it. And so, yeah, the way some of the adults reacted to me as a child that weren't helpful, I noticed I was starting to do some of those same things. And the disassociation and detaching from a lot of things made it difficult also then for, to working with some of my daughter's things, things are going on with them. And that's why the title of my story was The Buck Stops Here.
Beautiful.
It does. It stops here because I need, my awareness of not only what I'd been through, but what I'm continuing to do now. And that cycle is going to stop. So that starts with me. That means getting honest with myself too, as to where these traumas have led me and what I've been doing.
Right. And until we come to that realization and truly, having to sit down and write about it is, I think it's one of the biggest forms of healing because it begins to put it, yes, you cry your way through it almost every time. But at the same time, it also puts things in perspective. You see it with different eyes once you've had to really craft the story that, when you're putting it down on paper and you want it to be able to be read by somebody else, it takes a lot of thought that goes into how you're going to express, what happened and still, do it with honor, and honor yourself through the process. So and I really like the name of your chapter, the book stops here, because it does. Because as parents, until we come to that point, we just set the pattern that goes on and on if we don't know
Continue the
where to
cycle.
stop it. Yeah,
Yeah, we
continues the
continue
cycle. Yeah.
It also, writing it also helped me to, there was a couple of months there, afterwards I struggled a little bit because putting that story out, as child abuse, I mean, obviously family is involved. And it was learning to forgive them because they didn't know either, forgiving myself, and then also realizing that one day I'm hoping that my kids will be able to forgive me, but by being open and honest about it, and being forthright about it all, that I think that gives us the best opportunity for that. But yeah, not only did it help me kind of get my story out, or that piece of it anyway, but yeah, then it's really started a healing process, not only for me, but to, being able to forgive and having a new perspective
Mm-hmm.
on, that it wasn't anybody's necessarily their fault. Like there's more than enough blame to go around. It's, what are we going to do about it now?
Right. We're getting notices that we're frozen, but I think we're showing that we're alive. We're still moving. I don't see us frozen. I'm not sure why, because Brenda just said, "Are you frozen on your end with the interview?" No,
Not here.
not here. We're seeing it. We're talking. So what would you say to somebody that's been through something like this, some kind of abuse, no matter what age, what time period in their life, and they're kind of feeling alone? They don't realize that there's there's so much help out there. They feel alone. What would you say to them?
One, you're never alone. Everybody we talk to on the street, everybody has a story.
Yes.
Everybody has that story, and we need to feel connected. And the more we share our stories, the more connected we feel with other people, and always never stop reaching out for help.
Oh, so do that. Very, very good. Because I think one of the most beneficial things of the time we're living in, and I know our whole world is going through huge change right now, but sometimes I think about, what if this coronavirus had happened 20 years ago, when we didn't have the same connectivity. We could use Zoom, or we can use Facebook Live, and we can use our phones. We have our cell phones. We have all this technology that helps us not only find the people that have been rising to the top and had gone through it, those that have gone through it before us and that are coming out, have shared their stories long before we did. But we have all of this that's so available to us now, and when we didn't have it 20 years ago. So if the coronavirus had happened 20 years ago, we wouldn't have had all the tool sets that we have now to keep us all connected. So we're very fortunate. But in the same thing is, over these last 20 years, look what we have to have a book launch like this today, where we're connecting in many different platforms all over internationally, because this book has become a bestseller already today. So that's pretty amazing, isn't it?
It's an awesome feeling, and it's kind of neat.
Yeah.
It's exciting, a little anxiety ridden, of being, I put my story out there. It's not a secret anymore. It's not a few people can see it. Like, everybody, anywhere at any time now, can see this part of my story. And then looking at it and going, I can say I'm a published author. Our book is going on the bestseller list. Like, all of these things are things I never would have even dreamed possible before.
Right.
Ever. And yeah, so now we do. There's, with COVID going on right now, like it seems like there's so many cycles and so many things happening, and it's all very overwhelming, but it's also a point in time where we are more connected now than ever before. I mean, yeah, I'm sitting here at work in my office, but we don't get to say anymore that I'm too busy to do that anymore. I'm not busy.
Yeah.
So we have no excuse anymore of why not to do something. So that
Right.
we're just taking excuses away one by one. Here is the way right now I'm looking at things. All of those things that I needed to do, wanted to do. But the last week, I'll be honest, was kind of rough on me. We had a loss in the family, you know, job losses everywhere. There's so much going on, and it's very overwhelming. However, this last this last month, I mean, like I said, I do have PTSD. I do deal with anxiety, all of these things. I haven't had, a big anxiety attack. I have not had any big PTSD flashbacks. I haven't had any of that lately because I'm feeling more connected
Right. It's
with
connection.
more people.
Mhm.
Because, yeah, getting ready for this launch, I mean, the phone calls, the emails, everything going back and forth. We're all working together to, there's so many of us authors that have, our stories in this book, and it's exciting and it's scary and it's all of these things, but we can get through it because we're being connected.
Yep.
And that's anybody that's gone through any sort of trauma. But that's why speaking up is so important, and
Well,
finding those people that can support you and hold space for you while you go through this process.
yes. And I think this is an amazing time because I think it's giving a lot of us a time to pause and reflect and to know that we are connected. We are all connected no matter where we are. And that we have that kind of support system available to us. It's all around it. We're surrounded with it.
More now than ever before.
Yes. Yep. So I wanted to thank you for taking the time to write your chapter, for standing up and holding the light for someone else, or for many someone else's, and just to know that it's a real honor to be able to meet you. And for anybody listening, if you have not yet picked up your copy of Sacred Hearts Rising, it's on Amazon. This particular one is Sparks of Light. We have a link in the stream over here, so you're getting a lot of comments below, in the comment boxes on the side. So that's awesome, and I thank you for taking this time to be a part of this and shining your light for the world right now.
Well, thank you. This is absolutely amazing, and like I said, this is kind of a big milestone thing for me as well. I mean, going on a big Facebook Live as a published author, like how much better can life get right now?
It's pretty amazing, isn't it? Well, take good care of yourself, and I hope to meet you again.
Thank you very much, Becky. You have a great day.
Thank you. You too.